the spring of 1882, William Cornelius Van Horn became general manager of the Canadian Pacific Railway and declared that that year he would move the railhead westward across the prairies 1,000 miles. Though he didn't quite get that far, he did get the rails through this neighborhood and well beyond. It's the early Sunday evening of June the 8th, 2014, and this is Parkbeg, Saskatchewan. Though not on its original location, which was 2 miles north on the old course of the CPR, which was realigned in 1904 to eliminate the worst of the grades up the face of the Missouri Coteau and onto the high plains, the Third Prairie Steppe, just to the west of us here. Parkbeg was moved here. Its original town site appears to be a private farmyard. There was a school up there, built in the 1890s. There was a small station, a plan A10-12-5, and there's a graveyard up there, looking westward down the main line. Yes, the home of Gainer, the official mascot of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, and there he is, right there, leaning against the post office wall. It wasn't until June the 1st of 1896 that Robert F. Manley established the Parkbeg post office in the little CPR station of which he was the agent. Though the CPR likely laid in a siding and possibly surveyed a town site up on the old alignment, it didn't attract much attention for the first 15 years. It appears the post office needs a little work. From 1881 to 1888, Sir George Stephen was the president of the Canadian Pacific Railway. Parkbeg is a farm on his family's properties in Mortlach Parish in Banffshire in Scotland. In fact, the names of the 3 of the 4 stations between here and Moose Jaw are named to honor Sir George, Karen being the only exception. The station stood right down here. It was a standard number 5, 2-story with a freight shed attached. It was built in 1901 at the old location and moved down here, probably at the end of that lane there, at mile 34.7 from Moose Jaw on the Swift Current sub. I don't know the mileage to the old location, probably be the same. Elevators stood right in here. The last one came down around 2012, I think. Parkbeg is, of course, laid out perpendicular to the railway, and so we're looking southward up Main Street. That might be the corner of C.D. Martin's new store that he built after the big fire of 1937. Don't know where the Temperance Hotel would have stood. It burned in August of 1919. Quite a few fires in Parkbeg. Well, my mistake, this is Rough Riders Drive. On the west side of the drive, the Zion United Church was built south of Mortlach. Was brought here in 1961. Seldom used, I think. Until that time, there was no church here. The Presbyterian congregation met in the school after it had finally been built in 1915, or somebody's house. Never in the Grain Growers Hall, though. Maybe the Temperance Hotel. In the back of town, that's the slough where there was many a hockey game and rafting adventures. Impromptu swimming lessons, no doubt. The school was just to the west of there. This is mainly stagnant ice moraine through here with patches of ridged moraine, undifferentiated glacial till and outwash. Kind of rough farmland, more suited to pasture, I think. They don't farm much west of here until they get well up onto Third Prairie Steppe around Herbert, Morris, Many years before the church was moved in, the congregations of Parkbeg, Mortlach, and nearby Edgehill pooled their funds and erected a manse in Parkbeg for the convenience of the minister who would preach here in the school and then go down to Mortlach and Edgehill to hold services. Constant sound backdrop to Parkbeg is the eastbound lanes of the number 1 Trans-Canada Highway, just to the north of the railway tracks there. Roaring off to Moose Jaw, 60 km to the east. The westbound lanes are about a mile to the north. And an old garage in the north part of town. Parkbeg was incorporated as a village on June 4th, 1913, but the corporation was dissolved on December 31st, 1957, when it became an organized hamlet. On January 31st, 1973, it reverted to a hamlet status, a ward of the rural municipality of Wheatlands, number 163. The school would have stood right in here. Actually, 2 schools after 1946, when the Elton School was moved into town to serve as an elementary school. The old school becoming the high school until 1958, when students started to be bused to Mortlach. The last school was closed in 1969, and now all the kids go to Mortlach. Here we are on Railway Avenue down by Margard Street, I think. The first elevator erected in Parkbeg was the Royal in 1910. It burned in 1916 and was rebuilt by Patterson and lasted through until 2012. Saskatchewan Cooperative Elevator built to number 71 in 1912, and Central Grain built in 1916. The pool replaced the Co-op elevator in 1958 and closed that one in 1996. And this evening there are no elevators in Parkbeg, Saskatchewan.